Bit of rock and roll in the morning. How are you? And nice to see you. Welcome today on the 1st of April to our live lesson with Keith from the Keith Speaking Academy. If this is your first time here, welcome. Really nice to see you here. I'm very excited today, as always, because today, well, we're going to be looking at a really nice topic, the topic of news, right? We're going to be looking at news, different language, different idioms, different questions to talk all about that great topic of news. Before we do, though, of course, we're going to kick off at the very beginning with a little bit of this. Great. Hello, my friends. Nice to see you here. Welcome. Today, well, it's very exciting. I'm very excited because not only are we going to be talking about the news, but we also have another guest to join us today. And I'm going to tell you about that in a moment. Let me introduce what we're going to be doing today, okay? So we're going to be talking about the news. Actually, let me get rid of these. We're going to be talking first of all about the news, of course. We're going to be looking at what? We're going to be looking at a bit of vocabulary that you need to talk about things in the news, whether it's newspapers, on social media, or even news from a friend, right? Our guest conversation today, we're talking about the news with Mr. Brick all the way from Dubai, and he will be joining us in about 20 minutes, so looking forward to that. We'll be having some question practice where I'll be asking you some different questions and you can type in your answers in the comments box. That means type. Hello, type. We'll be looking at some idioms as well, right? To talk about the news. I mean, for example, to give the lowdown. Do you know what that means, to give the lowdown? Well, you'll be finding out later on today when we talk about idioms. Sample answers, of course, I'll be giving one or two sample answers of questions that you want to ask me on the topic. And then Kahoot. We finish with a review and a game. And the game is called Kahoot. So that should be quite exciting. Oof, how does that happen? The news. Great topic, right? So we're going to begin with the news. Actually, I'd like to share with you a piece of news I heard this morning. You know, like in the morning, I like to listen to the radio. I don't know if you know, but I go for a walk in the morning, do a bit of exercise, and I like to listen to the radio, the BBC, and I heard a very interesting piece of news. I'm going to share it with you in a moment, but let me just say hello to some of you. Great. We've got Mr. Haryana. Hello there, sir. Farah Kanam. Hello, my dearest Farah as well. PC official Katrina from Saudi Arabia. Great. Mario from the KSA. Vaclav. Great to see you here. Ramsey from Amsterdam. Ramsey sounds like, reminds me of Gordon Ramsay, my favourite chef. Rohit Khatri, hello from Pakistan. Great. What is the time we'll over, please? Shanya, this will be over in 1.5 hours. Wow, it's a long session. But don't worry, it will fly past really, really quickly. It normally does, right? Great. Okay. Mr. Azamat from Uzbekistan. Great, nice to see you. Anchal from India. Enough of the hellos. What about that piece of news? I thought it was a very, very interesting and curious piece of news. So I wanted to share it with you. And I'd like to find out what you think about this piece of news, right? Very, very, very strange. But let me show you. Hang on a moment. I managed to get it off the radio so I could share it with you. I went to the website. I went to the BBC website, actually. You can probably find it there as well. So this was the one. Let's have a look together at this one. Da, 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 da. It takes a moment to load up. Here we go.
Hello, this is Ewan McGregor from the BBC World Service in Glasgow. Some breaking news today. A new word has entered the English language. The Oxford and Cambridge dictionaries have accepted this new word, IELTS, which comes from the word IELTS, the International English Language Testing System. This is a new word that now apparently means difficult or challenging. For example, my maths exam tomorrow is going to be a IELTS exam. I better study hard. Or also in non-study contexts. For example, my marriage is going through an IELTS patch, but I hope I can get through it. So that's it, a brand new word in the English language, IELTS. Breaking news from the BBC World Service.
How interesting. Right, that was today, the 1st of April, a piece of news on the BBC. IELTS, a new word. What do you think about that? Interesting. Chacon says BBC is one of the authentic news channels, but this voice sounds familiar. Ozan says, welcome to April Fool's Day. Well, welcome to April Fool's Day indeed. It is. I mean, that was absolute nonsense. Of course, IELTS is not a new word in the Oxford Dictionary. That was what you can call fake news or Keith news. It's April Fool's Day. Today is the 1st of April, which means you will find lots of people playing jokes on you or pranks on you if you live in English-speaking countries. I don't know if in your country you celebrate April Fool's Day, but today, definitely in England and America, people play jokes, but particularly in the media, right? If you open the newspapers today, in the English-speaking world, you will find one or two articles which are not true. They are jokes, right? They are jokes that the newspapers are playing on you. Every year we get this. And that's your first one. That was the April Fools for today. IELTS, great. As Heba says, yes, IELTS. It would be a great word, right? Yeah, I've got an IELTS exam tomorrow, meaning difficult, but it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It's just one of those April Fools. Thank you for the happy faces. Excellent, good. So today, right, this topic of the news that I mentioned, we're going to kick off with just a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes. We're going to have a look at some vocabulary on this particular topic, right? Now then, I can bring over here, I think if you give me a moment, I should be able to bring over my notes. IELTS vocabulary and the news. Great. So, of course, first of all, let's begin. Let's talk about news itself. I'm going to get in the middle of my little circle, if I can. So news, right, is uncountable. So we don't say a news or here are two newses. No, 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 no. We have to say some news, right? Or here is some news, or I have a lot of news, right? But you cannot say a. If you say a, then you have to say a piece of news. So if you want to make it countable, in that case, that becomes countable. You can say a piece of news, right? A piece of news. That was an interesting piece of news about a new word in the English language. It was fake news, right? The person, right, who works for the newspaper and finds the stories is called a journalist, right? That's the person, a journalist. It's got that nice j sound, j, j. Can you say that? J, journalist. Brilliant. And say this word then, journalism. Journalism. And it's a strong z, right? It's not s, it's z. There's a vibration here. Z, ism, ism. Tourism, journalism, racism. Okay, all of these words are the isms. Journalism is the noun, is the kind of the field of study, if you like, or the field of reporting news. So you've got a journalist. Let's make it, just to make it clearer. A journalist. I work as a journalist. I'd like to work as a journalist, right? Or maybe you'd like to work as a correspondent. Now, a correspondent, the stress on the O-N, spon. Oh, let me wind it up. Spon. It's, again, a difficult sound. Spondent. A correspondent. When you listen to the BBC, they often say, here is our Paris correspondent, or our foreign correspondent, or our correspondent in China. And that's the person reporting the news. It's the person who's in place recording the news with the camera, with the microphone, or with their notebook. There's a correspondent. I mean, literally somebody who corresponds, who gives you information, but normally works for a media outlet. The person on the TV news, so the person who hosts the TV news, is called the news anchor, a news anchor, right? We can also say a news host is also quite common, especially in British English, a news host. So again, that's the person and the noun. Great. What else? We talk about to cover a story. So the newspaper will cover a story, or a journalist will cover a story. Not literally cover, as in cover, but to report. So to cover a story, it means to report on a story. Report a story or report on a story. You can say report on a story or report a story. You could say both of those. So that's nice language to talk about the news, right? The journalist was covering the story. He was reporting on the pandemic in such and such a country. Another word that's useful, I've talked about media, the media outlets like the BBC or ABC or Voice of America. These are media outlets. To talk about the media, we can also call it the press. Right? The press is uncountable, and it refers basically to all the organizations that cover the news. So the press. So sometimes we also call that the media, if you like. Traditionally, the press has been the newspaper because it's the news. The press is the printing press. It's the machine to make the newspaper. The media could be television, radio, newspaper, magazine, a wider range, right, of different kinds of media. For example, the press, you could talk about, is the British press biased? So the British press, referring to maybe The Guardian, the BBC, if it's newspapers, The Guardian, The Sun, the Daily Express, the Daily Mail, the Independent, all of those high quality newspapers, some of them more quality than others. Is the British press biased? Is the British press good? Is the British press interesting? Do they cover interesting stories? So here we can talk about the British press, the French press. If you're in India, the Indian press, right? Different ways to use that. I talked about some press are better than others. In England, we have something called the tabloids. or a tabloid. A tabloid is a newspaper which tends to report gossipy news. So it's not a very serious newspaper, although they would argue they are. They do kind of more sensational news, things like that. Some people call it the pink press. I think in some languages it's called the yellow press or the pink press. But the tabloid, so it's a less serious. I'll get in trouble with the tabloids now. The less serious newspaper, more sensationalist, let's say. It's true. Come on, let's not beat about the bush. It's true. The most famous one in England, I think, is The Sun. It's a tabloid, a bit less serious. We also talk about the paparazzi. Of course, the paparazzi are the guys who go around taking photos. So they're kind of journalists, but they're the photographer, right? They are news photographers. But be careful, right? This has a negative connotation. I mean, newspaper photographers can be great. Of course, they are great professional photographers. But if they work for the tabloids, and they're often more sensationalist, and they don't have a good reputation. I mean, let's be honest, they have a very bad reputation. This word is used negatively, right? The paparazzi. Paparazzi, let me show you, just in case you're not sure. Let's put this on the website. I'll bring this up so you can have a look, right? Just to make double sure. Paparazzi. Here we go. We'll do some images. So these are the guys, right? They're taking the photographs, but especially of these kind of gossipy rumor newspapers. So they have a negative context, a negative connotation, excuse me. And I guess they have a negative connotation because they push the boundaries of privacy. They don't care about privacy. They will push and follow and stalk famous people till they get the perfect photo of them lying in the sun in their back garden. Whatever works, right? Okay, excellent. So we've got there the paparazzi. Just a couple of collocations. In fact, let me just check in with you guys because I can see lots of comments coming in. We can share some of your comments. That would be nice. Right, we've got. Okay, Nabika asks, tabloid only used to show an unseriousness of newspaper. To show unseriousness. Unseriousness. Yes, yes. Tabloids are normally negative to talk about less serious newspapers. Zeal says Times of India is a tabloid. Okay, yep, great. Rohit talks about the paparazzi, a group of photojournalists who swoop on. Nice, Rohit, very nice. They, like an eagle, they swoop on a celebrity when he or she is spotted at a public place. Lovely, very, very nice. Thanks for sharing that. Yes. The topic is news. Indeed, Sarah. Topic today is news. Do we write paparazzi with a capital letter? No, is the answer. And you're going to ask me, why have you done that, Keith? No, you don't need a capital letter. If it's in a title, yes, but otherwise, no. Jassy says, guys with big cameras. Well, yes, indeed. Chasing celebrities. Yes. Yeah, here you go. Shreya gives an example. Here we've got Princess Diana and Marilyn Monroe died due to chasing paparazzi. Yes. Diana, let's give her that capital D. Rest in peace. They died, yeah. They died, but they died due to chasing paparazzi. Yes, when you say chasing paparazzi here, you're using chasing as the adjective. So Princess Diana wasn't chasing the paparazzi, but the chasing paparazzi were after her. Yes, great. So that's it. Nice. A few collocations. I've just put up a few here. We can talk about a news flash. A news flash is on the news, a very quick piece of news, right? So that just means a quick notice. Piece of news. Pile of? It's a pile of news. Piece of news. Great. The breaking news, as you heard today about the word IELTS, April Fool. Breaking news is the latest piece of news. Or news story, maybe, right? And you can guess news coverage because we talked about covering a story, right? Remember up here we said to cover a story is to report on a story. So news coverage using the noun is the collocation here, right? It's the covering of the story, news coverage. The BBC covered this story in a lot of detail. Their coverage was really good. So that's the noun. So it's always nice, right, in IELTS to show off your vocabulary, to be showing the different word families. The noun, noun, adjective, verb, adverb, and so on and so forth. Excuse me. Brilliant, good. So there's some vocabulary about news. Here we go. We've got Hilal says, the earthquake was published as a news flash. Yeah, great, a news flash. Boom, it comes onto the TV very, very quickly. Wow, let's have a shout out to Rosetta because Rosetta is in Canada and it's 2 a.m. in Alberta, Canada. You're up at 2 a.m. watching IELTS Speaking. Well, Rosette, my hat off to you. Well done. That's fantastic. You are an inspiration for us. Very, very impressive indeed. Excellent. Good. So I'm going to move on. Now, we've got, what have we got? If I bring you back here, you'll remember what's coming up next. We've looked a bit at some of the vocabulary. I want to bring on next, Mr. Brick, right? All the way from Dubai. So we're going to have a conversation. This is Brick. Brick is his name. So it's like, yes, I like some teachers call themselves Mr. Keith, Mr. Brick. So we're going to bring on Brick and we're going to have a conversation. And we're going to be talking about, well, a little bit about Brick, obviously, but then we'll be having a conversation about the news, a few different questions. And as we talk, we'll be bringing up some interesting vocabulary that might be useful for you. So as you watch, if you have any questions, do type them into the comments box and we can try and answer them, right? Excellent. Good. So let me switch over here. I'm going to bring on my name because I am Keith and I'm going to call Brick. So bear with me, guys. Just hang on a moment. Got so many screens open. It's a bit bizarre, right? My hat off to you. Right, where are we? Here we go. Let's try. Hello.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Hi, Brick. I can hear you. Are you all right?
Yes, I'm very well. Thanks. How are you?
Fantastic. I'm good. Just give me a second. I'm going to bring you into the main screen if I can. I hope I can. Just hang on.
Yeah, cool.
Yay, it works. You're in. And there's your name as well. Right.
Excellent.
Excellent. We're in there. We're going good. Great. So listen, well, first of all, thank you very, very much for joining us today. It's absolutely fantastic to see you here. And it'd be really nice, I guess, to start off to find out a bit about you. I mean, tell us more about you, who you are.
Okay, excellent. Well, I am Brick. Unusual name, I know. But yeah, I'm a qualified English teacher, originally from the UK. A few years ago, though, I moved to the Middle East. I was teaching English in Abu Dhabi. I then went to Doha in Qatar.
Wow.
And now I'm here in Dubai. So I'm actually speaking from Dubai now. I'm teaching English here, so that's my full-time job. But then I also have a YouTube channel on the side as well, where I just pick out key points about the IELTS exam, and then my channel is based on that.
Fantastic. I've seen your channel. It's very good. Some really nice videos there. Yeah,
Thank
students,
you.
I will put the link in the notes later, and students can go and check out your channel as well.
Oh, excellent.
I was going to ask you about the weather, but I'm thinking in Dubai, I can probably guess.
Yeah, well, it's extremely hot at the moment. Having said that, though, it's actually less hot this year than it was last year. So it's a pleasant surprise, because sometimes the heat gets unbearable.
Yeah, I can imagine. Absolutely, yes. So how long have you been in Dubai itself?
Well, I originally came to the country in 2015. I was working here for 3 years in Abu Dhabi, that was. So Abu Dhabi is the capital of the United Arab Emirates. Once I left and came back, which is where I am now in Dubai, I came here in August of last year. Yes, and I've been here ever since.
Fantastic, great. I think we have quite a few students from the Middle East area, from several countries around there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, absolutely, great. They'll be very pleased to see you here. And so, are you enjoying Dubai?
I absolutely love it here. It's an amazing country. The weather is, I mean, I prefer the hot weather more than the UK weather. So that's a big plus for me. And also, there's so many things to do here. It's unbelievable. The quality of life is amazing.
So what do you do? I mean, what do you get up to at the weekends?
Well, usually I'm in the gym in the mornings. On the weekends, though, that's usually my time to wind down. But there's quite a few parks here. So my wife and I usually go to the parks, and there's some amazing restaurants here. And we're both foodies. So a lot of the time we just go out to different restaurants. Because of the weather's picking up now, later on after this, in the evening time, we're probably going to go for a swim on the beach. So I'm looking forward to that.
Right, fantastic. I love that expression. The weather's picking up. That's a brilliant expression. As we talk, I'm just going to pick out a few expressions and put them on the blackboard for students.
Yeah.
Right, so they can see that. Great. Can I just share that with them a moment? The weather's picking up. Great. The weather's getting better. Nice. Now, you and I have something in common, because actually I just saw a comment from Rohit, and Rohit says his pronunciation, that's yours, shows he's either an Irishman or from Yorkshire. Where are you from originally?
So both Keith and I are from we're from the same place, really. I'm from Manchester in the UK. I was born and raised there, and I stayed there for 25 years. And then at that moment, I moved to the Middle East.
Fantastic. And I'm also from Manchester. And it's strange because we have slightly different accents. I mean, you probably have a stronger Mancunian accent than I do. I left Manchester when I was 22. But I guess because I've lived, I don't know, how old am I now? I mean, I've lived 20 plus years abroad with a lot of that time teaching English. I've just kind of modified my language a little bit, my accent.
Yeah, the same things is slowly happening to me. I remember when I first moved over to the UAE, most people just couldn't understand me. So I really had to change up my speech and change my intonation. Even now, I'm 5-6 years in, I'm still working on this. But a lot better.
You kind of over enunciate, if you like, or pronounce more clearly, right?
Yeah.
Right. Fantastic. Brilliant. Now, talking about the news, right? So it's interesting. I mean, do you follow the news?
Yeah, I actually follow the news quite a lot, especially with what's going on in the world right now. I think it's important for me to follow the news. So, yeah.
And what kind of news are you interested in?
Well, at the moment, I'm looking at both local and international news, mainly about the stats of what, the virus that's going around, just to see if it's calming down in the UK, because at some point, my wife and I would like to go back and just for a quick visit. And then I follow a lot of the local news of what's happening in Dubai, if there's any events going on. I like to keep on top of things.
Yeah, right. Nice. Good. I'm typing. Let me share a couple of those sentences. That was very good. It's interesting. You talked about the stats about the virus. I'll put this up. The stats about the virus, because we often say that. The stats is the statistics, right? But very often we just say the stats.
Yeah.
Statistics. And so the statistics about the virus, how many people are being infected, or the vaccines. The vaccines is a bit of a nightmare here in Europe. I don't know about in Dubai, but in England it's going fantastic. They've done like, I think 20 million or more people, and here in Spain they've done like 1 million. It's like so slow.
Wow.
What's the picture like in Dubai?
Well, here they've handled it. The government have handled it really well. So this is a country of around 10 million people, and I think right now around 50 or 55% of the people are vaccinated. It's a well-organized, well-structured process. So here they're handling it very, very well.
Right, fantastic, great. The other expression you used, I noticed, was "I like to keep on top of things." Right?
Yeah.
What does that? How would we explain that? To keep on top of things?
I would say that that would suggest that I like to keep up to date with the latest news.
Yeah, keep up to date with the news. That's brilliant. Nice. Sometimes it's hard to kind of think exactly what the definition is of these. So keep on top of things is a really nice expression. So to kind of keep up to date with the news, keep on top of the news. Interesting expressions. Brilliant. I was listening to the radio this morning, and I, apart from the fake news I shared earlier with the guys, I was listening to a lot of interesting pieces of news out at the moment. There's things about the ship that was stuck in the Suez Canal. There's the ship that got stuck in a river up in England as well. Can you think of any interesting pieces of news you've read about lately?
I mean, there was actually a similar case here in the UAE. I'm not sure which Emirates it happened in, but the news was, I briefly read up on it, but the news was basically about how some people were stuck on a ship and how many people just wanted to go out their way and rescue these people. Wow. Yeah, I know it was in the news for a while. I wasn't following it too much, but that's the last I read up on about it.
Right.
So that was quite a bit of an interesting news, yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of interesting stuff going on. So how do you access the news? Are you like one of these mobile phone scrollers or newspaper people, maybe?
I was going to say fortunately, but I think unfortunately, yes, I have become getting all my information from my mobile phone. So I access different newspaper applications from my mobile phone. Sometimes, if I'm on a long drive, I will listen to podcasts, live podcasts. But majority of the time, it will be accessing newspaper articles from my phone. Yeah.
Right. Which applications do you use?
I mean, to follow what's going on in the UK, I've got the BBC News application.
Yeah.
And then MEN, because I'm from Manchester.
You get the MEN on it. Have they got an app? Yeah,
they've got an app. It's so ideal. It's so convenient. So those are the international ones I follow. Every now, I've got the Guardian application downloaded as well.
Yeah.
I don't follow it that much though. And then to keep on, to keep up to date with things, the UAE, I read Khalid Times and the Gulf News. They are probably the most accurate and precise pieces of information that you can get here.
Right, interesting. Do you have any? I don't know if tabloids is the right word. Do you have any tabloids in that area?
I don't think there's that many. I don't think there's any, to be honest, here, unless I'm just completely ignorant. But in my 5 or 6 years here, I don't think I've ever come across any. I know there's quite a lot in the UK, but none that I've come across here.
It may be, I don't know, maybe it's a very European thing. I know definitely in Spain they have some, in France they do. In England we have lots of tabloids.
Yeah.
It's quite a thing, yes. Yeah. Very interesting. I'm just going to share what you said there. I get all my information from my phone, which is great. So get your information from the phone. Just noticing the prepositions, and to access news from different applications. So you can access news on your phone from different applications. Nice. The MEN, if people don't know, they won't know, is the Manchester Evening News, is our local newspaper. I had no idea. I've got, like you, the BBC on my phone and the Guardian. I like the Guardian because it has what they call the long read. So as well as lots of short stories, if you want to go into depth about some stories, you can get a more detailed report about it. And their coverage for me is quite independent. I mean, a lot of newspapers in England are either very left or very right. It's quite hard to get independent coverage, right? I think they're quite good, in my humble opinion.
I actually completely agree with that statement. I'm the same as well. I'm kind of independent, as you would say.
We are the independent, yes. Great. I'm just seeing if there's any questions from people. Brilliant. Yes. No questions. Lots of comments, but no questions. That's good. New York Times, people are talking about the Wall Street News. Of course, we're being very British about this because we are British, so we're not talking much about the American press. But there's lots there as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yes. So news topic. A lot of people are using mobile phones, right? Do you think in the future that the way we kind of get news and access news is going to change?
That's a really interesting question. I 100% think that it will change. And here's the reason why. My first ever job was to deliver newspapers to people's homes.
No.
And I still remember, even if I was just a few minutes late, people would stand outside their houses waiting for their newspapers. And they would read the whole newspaper entirely just to find one piece of information that they wanted to read about. Whereas now, fast track, maybe 15, 20 years, I would say, 15 years, fast track 15 years, we can access anything from our phone, any type of news article. If I want to read about Manchester United, a football team, I can just search that in the Manchester Evening News application, and it'll take me directly to that link. Whereas, over a decade ago, I would have had to read everything just to, find out about Manchester United. So I think if things go along this way, it will definitely change how we read the news.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. You're right. I mean, in the past, I used to read newspapers. I don't read them now, but you used to spend a long time reading newspapers. Now, because of the whole search ability, we can get news anywhere, anytime, right? Really, really quickly. I thought that was interesting the way you answered that question, because I think this question is a very difficult IELTS question, actually, right? How will something change in the future? And the natural thing to do is to talk about the past, like you did immediately. So we used to do this, and now we do that. But then you did that very clever thing where you say, if things go along this way, it's going to carry on. And I think that's a really great strategy. If you don't know about the future, because we don't, right? Then people are just saying, well, if things go along like this, it'll carry on in the same way. Yeah.
It's a good technique for speaking.
We should call that the brick technique, as you've just introduced it. The brick technique. That's nice. Let me write. I just noted a few things. I'll just share them on the board here. I love the way you said this. So just a moment. I'll just get it a bit bigger. So I was asking about things changing in the future. Sorry, I'm chopping around a lot, but I'll just organize my notes.
Take it time.
So he said, how will things change in the future? And I liked this expression. You said, well, in the past, blah, blah. Oh, no, you said, da, 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 and here's the reason why. So you gave your opinion. You gave the situation. And they said, then gave the reason, and here's the reason why. and then you talked about the past, and then you said now fast track 10 years. Brilliant expression. Fast track 10 years means come forward, right? 10 years. So come forward to today, if you like. I guess come forward to today. Fast track 10 years. And then you compare to today. And then if things go along this way in the future, and then you're talking about how things will develop in the future. I just add that things go along this way. Yeah, so nice. It's a tricky question. Very, very tricky question.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about IELTS questions, it's because obviously everybody here is an IELTS student, or most people are. What kind of tips do you give your students around IELTS?
Well, when we're talking about IELTS speaking, one technique that I do give is something that I just did myself. When you asked me the question, is when you give an answer. I mean, I didn't have to do it then, but when you do give an answer and you think, oh no, that's a bit of a short answer, just try to justify your answer, because a lot of the time it's easier to give an explanation. So when I said fast track 10 years, I think news might change because, and then you can just add more information.
That's nice. Yeah. So it's really important, right, to develop your answers and give more information. Otherwise, the examiner doesn't have enough language to evaluate you on.
Yeah.
Right. We've got a couple of questions up here. Somebody says, I've seen a tabloid here in Qatar, but it's printed in Arabic. Okay.
Oh, maybe that's why I haven't come across them, because a lot of the newspapers would be, a lot of the tabloids, if they do exist, they would be in Arabic.
Exactly.
That makes, yeah.
Do you speak Arabic?
Unfortunately, I don't. It's something that I've been dabbling into, but it requires a lot of attention and concentration. That's why, honestly, I really admire everyone who's trying to learn the English language, because I understand how difficult it is to learn a new language. So no, I don't speak it, but I will at some point. I'm still trying to learn.
Fantastic. As you said, you're dabbling into it. Great expression. I'm dabbling into it. I wrote that down for the students. I've been dabbling into Arabic. Dabbling is what? Is trying to do something, right?
Yeah, I would say like it's you're at this early stage of trying something.
Yeah. Yeah, like dabbling in cooking. Do you dabble in Arabic cooking? I've been dabbling in Spanish cooking for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm horrible at cooking, so plus what works well for me is that my wife, she loves cooking, so it just works out.
Brilliant. So she cooks and you clean the dishes.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. Yeah.
Nice, brilliant. So we've got dabbling. I'll just add that in there as well. I've been dabbling into Arabic, so that's to the early stages of trying something new. Normally, to dabble into, to dabble in, or to dabble into. Yeah. Very nice, brilliant. Dabbling into Arabic. Brilliant. So, I mean, I'm a big fan of cooking, as students know. But so, does your wife cook? What kind of food does she cook?
Well, my wife, she cooks a lot of like South Asian type of dishes. I mean, she cooks a lot of South Asian type of dishes, so lots of curries. Mainly curries that she cooks.
Nice.
Recently she's been dabbling into, again, that word.
A
lot of healthy type of cooking.
Yep.
So we've been having a lot of grilled food.
Yep.
Grilled chicken, steamed rice, and steamed vegetables. I've been just trying a few of that. I need to keep the belly down.
It sounds familiar. I know where you're at. Yeah, keep the belly down. The middle-aged belly. Well, for me, definitely, it's coming about. I've got a question up here from Madushi and she says, "Why should we follow the news?"
That's a good question. That's actually a question that might come up on the IELTS exam as well. I would answer that as, I think the news is important, especially to keep up to date with what's going on around you.
Yep, absolutely. I agree. I think it's good to keep up to date with your local news, to know what's happening in your city as well, if there are sudden changes, especially in the
Mm.
pandemic times.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's nice at times to be able to. It's an icebreaker as well, isn't it? It's in conversations when you're having with friends and family,
yeah.
often talk about the news. So to be in the loop is useful. So you can
In the yes, I like
participate
that.
in the
Um,
loop. Nice.
mhm,
In the loop. Let me add that
mm.
to our blackboard. To keep in the loop, or to stay in the to keep in the
Stay
loop.
in the loop. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Madushi, thanks for that question. I'm just going to take you off, switch screens. It's like flying an aeroplane, all of this technology.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how you do it. But,
Lots
yeah,
of practice.
okay. Well, speaking of the news, one thing I have realized that people in the United Arab Emirates, we tend to follow the news a lot more here than we do in our home countries.
Oh, say that again, Brick, because I just lost you there. You got the
Oh,
sound
sorry.
went, but say it again.
I was saying that from my experience in this country,
Yep.
in Dubai, in the UAE, one thing I have noticed about the news is that people who live here, they tend to follow the news a lot more than we do in the UK.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I think a big part of that is 90%. I mean, this is my own assumption,
Yeah.
but 90% of the population here are all expats. So, in order for you to understand somebody a lot better, you have to kind of read up on the news and what's going on in their countries, as well as your own home country, to get a better picture of, different contexts.
That is so interesting, of course, because there are so many nationalities.
Yeah.
You've got to be in the loop in all the different countries in a way.
Yeah. So since I've come here, I've learned so much about other people's cultures, about what's going on in their countries, even things such as the weather in South Africa, something that I would have never thought about when I was in the UK. I seem to have learned so much about since coming here.
Wow, brilliant. So that's really broadened your horizons, literally, about the world affairs.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Got a couple of comments to share. We've got Angel says, I follow the Peninsula newspaper in Qatar. What else have we got? Dabbling is in an Indian word as well, in the Indian language.
Dabbling. I didn't know that. I actually speak Hindi and Urdu fluently.
Right.
So
both in Hindi and Urdu, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, they kind of intertwine with each other. They cross over.
Right.
So they're very similar. So the chances are that if you can speak Urdu fluently, you can most likely speak Hindi fluently, and vice versa.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Great. So you are multilingual, not just bilingual.
Yeah. So I've had to learn those languages. So again, that's why I really appreciate and sympathize with a lot of English learners, because I just know how difficult it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. I've got one final question, maybe. This is from Fermiliet, who says, how can I protect myself from fake news?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think I would suggest two ways. One of them would be to read a variety of newspapers. That would give you a clear indication as to which news is authentic and which news is fake. And another way I would suggest, I forgot to mention this earlier, is I also follow the news by joining lots of Facebook groups. That doesn't sound like a very popular thing, but here in the UAE, that's one of the best ways to keep up to date with what's going on. So if I were to read some type of fake news, I would just double check with people in Facebook groups, and then usually people will reply and let me know.
That's interesting. That's almost the reverse of what I would think, because my instinct is when I see news on Facebook is that it's fake. And I would go to the Guardian or the BBC or a world newspaper to double check if it was true. It's interesting.
I think that's just a Dubai thing. I'm not sure, because again, like you said, I wouldn't do this if I was in the UK.
Right.
But I think there's so many expats are here. They've just grouped a community together, which is the Facebook group, and that's where people cross-reference things.
Right.
Yeah, they're doing that a lot with with the pandemic news.
Yeah.
Whether we can travel back to the UK or not.
Yeah.
A lot of the news is up to date on these Facebook groups.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Brilliant. Thanks Fermilet for that. I'm just going to pull up a couple of things you said there, which were good. So we talked about authentic news. You talked about fake news and authentic. Authentic just meaning real news.
Yeah.
And then to cross-reference the news or to cross-reference the information. So to check different sources, basically.
Yes.
Check different sources. There's a lag in my computer. Never mind. There we go. Check different sources. Brilliant. Very, very nice. Great. Brick, we're probably going to be winding up in a moment. Any other? I'm just checking if there's any questions here, but any questions or comments that you've got?
I'm just reading the comments as well.
Yeah, have a look. Please do.
Have Dubai visa. Oh, okay, some interesting comments here. No actual questions I have. Right. Yeah, but I would like to say that if any of your students do require any additional help with anything IELTS related other than speaking, I do have a YouTube channel, which is IELTS Mr. Brick. So if you have any reading or writing questions and listening, you're more than welcome to have a look at the videos. I've got a video that's going live today as well.
Oh, brilliant. What's the topic of your video today?
Today is a reading question, one of the most difficult ones, which is a yes, no, not given question. So I'm just going to explain how to answer that type of question.
Fantastic. Great. On reading. I've just added this to the screen. So it's IELTS Mr. Brick. Is that right?
Yeah. IELTS space Mr. space Brick.
You're killing me. Hang on a minute. IELTS space Mr. space Brick. If you put that in the YouTube search engine, you'll find it, I'm sure. IELTS Mr. Brick.
Yes.
Fantastic. You go and check it out. Brick has got, it's a very, very good YouTube channel. I think there's some really interesting stuff there. I think it's kind of a fairly new channel starting up, right?
Yeah.
So please, guys, go and have a look. Go and check it out because there's lots of information to get. Brilliant.
Thank you.
We'll wind it up. Thank you very much, Brick, for coming. It's been really, really interesting, actually.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. It was really nice speaking to you. Yeah.
Brilliant. Great. Thanks very much. I'm sure the guys are very appreciative as well. There's been lots of really nice comments as well. Very interesting. And it's interesting to get, different, even though we're both British, the different cultures, because you're in Dubai, I'm in Spain. You've got kind of the Indian, Hindi and Urdu languages going on as well. Very, very interesting. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, thank you very much. Let's stay in touch. And I will see you around here soon.
Cool. See you later.
Right. Thanks.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Right. Thank you very much to Brick. I've got to work out now how. There we go. That's how. So thank you very much to Brick. Guys, do go and check out the YouTube channel, IELTS Mr. Brick. Some really nice stuff there. Obviously, it's IELTS based. As you've seen, Brick has got some great, not only language, obviously, but techniques for IELTS. The Brick technique that we've established today. Fantastic. Brilliant. Good. So we're going to carry on. Let me just change things around a little bit. If I just move our names off. Brilliant. And let's have a jingle.
Ba-da-shee-be-doo-be-doo-be-doo-be, bum bum bum.
Ah, nice. It's Coco. It's Coco says, it's such a lovely and easy way to learn English through your live videos. Absolutely loved it. Great. Very pleased to hear that. Very interesting interview, right? Very, very interesting. Some nice things. Hannah says, Shakun smiles. Hannah says, I like the brick technique. That's going to become now world famous. People will be on the Facebook going, have you tried the brick technique? What's that? Oh, fantastic. Great. Viraj says, where are you from, sir? Me? I'm from... You haven't been watching, have you? I'm from Manchester, the same as Brick. We're both from Manchester, but I do live in Spain at the moment. Susan says, I think Brick is down to earth and very friendly. I totally agree. Very down to earth, very, very friendly, very nice guy, very honest and open. Nice. Great. Swayat says, I've got the exam on the 10th of April. Well, look at the face. Good luck, Swita. I'm sure it will go really, really well. Okay, let me switch then. Let me come back. So we've had this conversation with Mr. Brick, which was great. I'm going to move on to some question practice, right? I'd like to ask you guys some questions similar to the ones that we've seen and see what you say. So let me pick out some questions for you. Of course, what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep all of the notes, right, that you can see today on the board. I publish as a PDF on the website. This video is recorded and you can obviously go back to YouTube to watch it, and then you can press the link from YouTube to my website and download today's lesson notes so you can carry on studying and learn more and more to get an even better score in your IELTS speaking. Okay, first question for you guys, right, today is it important to keep up to date on the news? I'd like to hear what you think about that. Give me a comment down below. Is it important to keep up to date on the news? Abigail, yes, I do speak Spanish as well, yes. As Abdul, are the speaking questions different in different countries? No, they're all the same questions around the world. Abdul, how can I download the material? Oh, right. Abdul, go to my website, the Keith Speaking Academy. Don't go now. It's like the students saying, can I go to the toilet, sir? And then they disappear and they never come back. So Abdul, don't go now. Go at the end of the class. I mean, if you don't go to the toilet, go to the toilet, but don't go to the website. Go to the website later. It's the Keith Speaking Academy, or go and bookmark it. Right, let's see. Let's take that off. Let's share some of your answers to this question. The first simple one from Mehdi, yes, it is. Shama gives a bit more information. Yes, it's really essential. Ajin, yes, it's very important for daily life. Nice, very, very good. Vaclav says, yes, absolutely, especially when pandemic. Yes, let me help you a little bit there. Instead of when, right, let's say, and let's change your spelling. Instead of when, let's say during. Especially during the pandemic. And we normally say the pandemic. Yes, absolutely. Especially during the pandemic. Great. Ramsey says, yes, it is. To keep in the loop. Nice. Very good, student. It's important to keep in the loop. Ismail says, yes, news enrich us with what's going on. Now, this is really good and it will help us because there's a small mistake, but this will help everybody. When we talk about the news, right, normally we would add the. Yes, the news. And even though it's uncountable, it's still the third person. It's it. So the news enriches, right? Enriches. The news enriches us with what's going on in the world. That is very, very nice, Ismail. Thank you very much. Yes. Jigar says, yes, it's very important and help us to be with the world. Now, same thing, right? You see, Ismail has helped us, but now this helps us to be with the world. I'm going to make your answer even better, Jigar, right? I'm going to make it even more natural. Yes, it's very important and helps us to be in touch with the world, right? Not just with the world, but in touch with the world. That's a nice answer. Brilliant, Jigar. Thank you very much. Saurab says, yes, definitely, because it keeps us aware of what's happening around the country or around the globe. Yes. So that's nice. Yes. And I'll just change your definitely with the fini, not fina, fini. Yes, definitely, because it keeps us aware of what's happening around the country. Nice, brilliant, beautiful. Great. Samara says, absolutely, for us to keep on the loop. Oh, on or in? Samara, in the loop, and to broaden our horizons. That's also nice. That was an expression I think I used as well, right? To keep in the loop, keep inside. Because if you've got, how would I explain it? Imagine the loop, right, is a circle. There's the circle of news. It's literally, what can I show you? Oh, children's toys, always very useful. That is your loop, right? It's literally, that is your loop. So the loop is a circle. Don't break it or she'll be so upset. So when you've got a circle, of course, you're not on the loop, right? You want to be in the loop. You want to be in the circle. So in the loop or in the circle. If you're on it, you don't know the information. So be in the loop. I love that. Great toy. Goes down the stairs automatically. Always a good decision to do your live class in your daughter's bedroom. So in the loop. Lovely. Brilliant. Let's move on. Let's do one. Let's move on altogether, right? Question practice. I'm going to move on, and I wanted to share something with you, right? Some great answers coming up, but I am going to move on, just aware of the time and my thirst. It's warm. Today, the weather is getting better and better. The weather's picking up. The sun is coming out. And it's, by the way, it's Easter. If you're celebrating, it's Jueves Santo. It's Easter Thursday, Easter Friday, and then, of course, Good Friday, and then Easter Sunday on Sunday. So this weekend, if you're celebrating, happy Easter to all of you. I forgot to say it. But Easter is a time of interesting. It's a time of death. It's a time of birth, rebirth, right? And it's the time of spring where the flowers are coming out, the animals are mating, young lambs and foals and chicks are being born, and it's a rebirth, right? It's an exciting time. And that's why I think also with spring, the weather's getting better and better. So there we go. What am I talking about? I was talking about a website I wanted to share with you, right? If you're interested in the news and the language to talk about the news, and especially IELTS Part 2, where you may be asked to describe a piece of news, you need your examples, right? You notice me and Brick today, Brick and I, Brick and I were talking about some pieces of news about the boat in the Suez Canal, about the pandemic. But in IELTS, sometimes it's hard to think of a piece of news. And people say, describe a piece of news. And you go blank. So it's a good idea to do some research, get some ideas to talk about. And there's a great website, and I'm going to share it with you. And this website is actually an English learning website, but It's called Breaking News English, and I'm going to explain. I want to share it with you because I think it's a great resource, and I would like to explain to you why I think so. So it's called, if you can just see at the very top, can you see Breaking? Ah, you can't see. I'm making a pig's ear of this. Come on, Keith. Breaking News English, right? .com, basically. breakingnewsenglish.com. Free English lessons. So here you can see you've got a piece of news like the Suez Canal reopens, Earth safe from the asteroid hit, Olympic torch relay starts in Japan. Look at the dates. I mean, these are all very, very new, right? 31st of March, 29th of March, 27th. So every week, this website and the guy who runs it puts up 2 or 3 articles of recent news. And look, it goes by level. So if you're a lower level, you can access the information at 4. If you're a higher level, at level 6. Let's take the Suez Canal, right? Reopens. And what you get, if you're a teacher as well, not only a student, but if you're a teacher, you've got your ready-made lesson plan here. You can print the lesson plan. You can listen in both American and English. You can read the article, jumbles, no spaces. There's a grammar analysis. There's a spelling section. It's just great. So look, you've got, ignore the advertisements, obviously, but you've got the article here. The Suez Canal is finally open again. You've got some warm-ups to do to get you in the mood, especially good for teachers, right? There's then some vocabulary to do, looking at the matching the word definition. Some true, false to practice your reading skills. Synonyms to build up your vocabulary. Blocked. I mean, if I go in a bit closer for you. Blocked. That's my, I have a dictionary thing. I can check the meaning. Excuse me. I think the answer is obstruct. Block, yeah. So number 1, G. Great. Synonym match. Phrase match. It just goes on and on. I mean, it's amazing. If you're a teacher or a student, you can do role plays. Unbelievable. How does this guy do it? It's absolutely amazing. And I love the listening bit because I'm a big fan of listening to texts for students. If you want to improve your speaking, listening is much better than reading, right? So you can do slow, medium, British. So I can do
Suez Canal reopens after stranded ship is freed.
Or American.
Suez Canal reopens after stranded ship is freed.
Brilliant. And you can listen to the whole thing. Anyway, guys, it's called breakingenglishnews.com. I'll put this in the chat now, but also I'll put it in the notes later. It's just one that's out there. There are lots of resources, and I'm sure you're going to be sharing some with me. But it's really good. breakingnewsenglish.com. Great website. It's well worth having a look. Nice. Okay. Let me move on. Where are we? That's it. Breaking news. That's the one. Okay. Now then. I'm going to move on next. Samara, let's take you off. How did you get there? What's coming up next? I'm going to look at idioms, right? Idioms next. We're going to look at 2 or 3 idioms on this topic. For example, to give the lowdown. I wonder if any of you know what the lowdown is. I wonder. Well, let's have a look together, right? You can share more idioms with me as we go along. Love from India. Harsh Suti. Hello. Love from Spain to you. Okay, some idioms to talk about the news. Okay. To give the lowdown. Wow. So to give the lowdown, right, is to give all the details about a piece of news. about a piece, i.e. pie, apple pie, piece of news. So let me just mark that and show you this to give the lowdown, right? So, for example, right, imagine your colleague at work has to go and speak to the boss. The boss says, "Oi, you, come into my office now." And you see your friend go into the boss's office and they're talking, and then blah, 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 blah. And then your friend comes back and you say, "Come on, give me the lowdown." Right? Tell me all the details of what happened. Tell me all the details of the news, right, that just happened. Give me the lowdown. You could use it talking about news in the newspaper, right? Oh, I've just read an article about the ship in the Suez Canal. Hey, give me the lowdown. What happened, right? It's a nice expression. So give me the lowdown. To give the lowdown, give me the lowdown. Give all the details, right? The next one, you've probably heard this one on the grapevine. To hear about something through or on the grapevine. It's most famous because there's a song, I heard it on the grapevine, right? Is to hear something from someone else, from another person. Not the source. So you hear about a piece of information not because you read about the original information, but somebody else told you about it, right? So when a friend tells a friend and the friend tells you that your uncle is getting married, you heard it on the grapevine, right? Your uncle didn't tell you he's getting married, but he told a friend and the friend told a friend and the friend told you, then you hear it on the grapevine or through the grapevine. To keep someone posted, right? Keep someone posted. We talked about keeping in the loop, and it's actually the same, right? To keep, whoops, let me write this out again. To keep someone in the loop. And both of these mean, well, to keep someone up to date with the news. So both of these are that, to keep someone up to date with the news, to keep someone posted, keep someone in the loop. We often use this when you're talking with friends or family or colleagues at work or classmates, and they're going to do something, right? I'd say, I'm going to go and speak to my boss about this. And you say, yeah, well, keep me in the loop, right? In the loop. Keep me up to date. Keep me posted. It's like they're going to post you a letter and tell you what happened in the meeting with their boss. It doesn't mean literally post a letter. Times have changed, right? But keep me posted is to let me know or just keep me up to date with what's going on, right? Great. Now, yes, there's a few questions here. Femelit again. So the grapevine, similar to hearsay. Yes. Hearsay is when you hear someone else tell you. That's the grapevine. Absolutely. Yes. Good. What else have we got? Okay. No, that's good. Keep someone informed. Yeah. That's nice. Let me add that one as well. Thank you very much, Rupjit, for that. Keep someone informed. Yeah. And then we've got this expression, by word of mouth. And it's, well, this one actually, I'm going to put up here. Because it's more like to hear something from another person, right? So we might say, let me give you an example. I heard it by word of mouth, which means someone else told me about it. So someone else told me about it. So literally the word has gone from your mouth to another mouth, and then from that mouth to another mouth by word of mouth. So it's like the grapevine. It's moved, it's passed on from one other people. We often talk about marketing, right? If you want to do some marketing, the best marketing is by word of mouth, where your customers tell other customers about your product. That's by word of mouth. But also we can use it to talk about the news, to keep people up to date and to find out information, right? So yes, to keep someone, oh, not here, I'm on the wrong one. By word of mouth, great. Let me move this up as well. I think I've got another one. I've got one more at the bottom. To break the news to somebody is to tell somebody the news. I don't know why we break the news. It's not like you break it, you give the news. But to break the news, it's normally for negative, right, news. And I think that's why it's negative, because it has a negative impact. So it's normally negative news. You know, I have to break the news that you've failed the exam. Then I'm going to break the news. I'm not going to tell you the news. I'll break you the news because it's negative, right? So that's just to tell someone the news. I have to break the news that it's going to rain tomorrow. Maybe. So breaking the news is normally quite negative news. Yeah, here's a good example. Yep, from Shreya. I had to break the news to my friend about the accident of her brother. Yes, yes. To spill the tea, Chisholm, I don't know that. Do you mean spill the beans? To spill the beans, to tell a secret? Maybe. Maybe. What about the breaking news from Petra? Petra, come back. Oh, hang on a minute. Fia, I'll come back to you in a moment. Petra, breaking news is the latest news. So that's different, right? To break the news is to give the news, but the breaking news is the latest news, right? Fia, come back to you. To break the news, to tell someone the news. Yes, that's what I said. Yeah, I know, you're just practicing. Great. Excellent. Brilliant. Bad news travels fast. That's a bit of a proverb or a saying. That's right. Bad news travels fast. Yeah. Black Gold says, your avatar is making me hungry, Black Gold. Break the news is normally bad news. Yes. What about Breaking Bad? As a TV show, my friend. And I don't know where that name comes from. I've no idea. Okay, excellent, good. So we've looked at idioms. After idioms, right, we're going to move on to something a little bit different. Let's change the pace. Change the pace a little bit. Yes, I'll just have a drink. And then what we'll do is... Yay, it's time for sample answer. This is where you ask me a question about news, an IELTS question, and I will try and give you a sample or model answer, which later we can analyze and I will put on the website so you can have a look and learn from it. Okay, so please do write down some questions and I will move over here into my model answers area. Good. Let's see what's cooking. What's your favourite type of news? What do you think the government should do to reduce fake news? Can you recall a news that made you happy? What type of source do you prefer? Describe a time you received a bad news. Let's do this one. It's a part 2 question. Describe a time you received a bad news. And also Cecile has given us this lovely learning opportunity. She's reminding us, obviously deliberately, that news is uncountable. So you cannot say news. You have to say news. Describe a time when you received bad news. Of course, Cecile was just sharing that opportunity for everybody to learn. Thank you, Cecile. That's great. Now then, let me just paste and copy that. I'll move that over here. Can I go up a little bit? Yeah. Right, Cecile, so much. Thank you so much. So much thank you. Right. Oh my, this is difficult. So I'm going to take maybe half a minute to think about this because I do need to think of a time I received bad news. Right. Okay. And before I begin, this is a hard one because I would try not to talk about things that are very, very emotional. And things that jump to my mind are the deaths of family members of the family, especially with the COVID. I'm going to avoid that because I think it's too emotional. And I think it could be the last thing you want, really, the last thing you want is to get upset during the exam because it will ruin the whole exam for you. Some people think if I get a bit tearful and crying, the examiner will help me and think, oh, okay, we'll give him an 8. No, it's really, if you get upset, it will really affect your ability to speak well in part 2 and part 3. So I'm thinking, try and think of something that is not going to upset you. Bad news, but not, maybe a member of your family who's died. That's going to be really tough. So let me come back to my 30 seconds and think of some bad news, but not too bad. Or make something up. Got it. Take a second to think about the structure. Right, okay, let's do it. Shall I try and do 2 minutes? Let's try and do a 2-minute countdown because that might be more realistic, right? Oh, clock started. Help. Right. So I'd like to tell you about the time I got some bad news. And it was when I booked a hotel for a holiday, but it had to be cancelled. So this is going back probably a month ago or maybe 2 months ago. And during the time of the pandemic, there have been a lot of confinements and lockdowns. And recently in my country, the lockdown finished. This was about 2 months ago. So we were able to go out again. And so my family and I booked a couple of nights in a hotel in a different city. And we were really looking forward to it. It was something that we were so excited about because we had been cooped up in our homes for such a long time without the ability to go out, breathe the fresh air and enjoy socializing. So we got excited about this trip to the hotel. But the day before, the government announced that we were not allowed to leave the province we were in. And the hotel that we had booked was in a different province. So legally, we couldn't go. We were in a bit of a dilemma. Should we break the law and go or not go? And in the end, we had to cancel the hotel. I got in touch with them and said it's going to be impossible for us to come. Luckily, we could get our money back because there was a policy, a return or a refund policy that gave us our money back. But we felt devastated. We were really annoyed and frustrated because we've been so looking forward to this break. And in the end, we just had to give it up and stay at home. Look at that, 2 minutes, spot on. That was it. That was the time we received bad news. And that was a true story, actually. A true story. Good. That's nice. Sample answer. Guys, because of the time, I'm going to move us on from that sample answer. I know I've only done one today, but I am running out of time because I would like to move on to our last activity, right? We've got just enough time. We've looked at a sample answer. I'd like to look at Kahoot, which is our review. This is a kind of a fun game that we're just going to play together. We play it on the website. You will need to go to kahoot.it in a moment. And when you're there, you can see the questions that I will ask you. You've got 4 answers. You have to choose the correct answer. And this is based on the language we've studied today. This is to see if you've been napping, having a siesta, or paying attention to the class. Let's see. Let's find out. Okay, so bear with me. I've just got to go and find it on Kahoot and then pull it up. Where are we? Let's log in. Hooray. If you don't know Kahoot, you're in for a treat. It's quite fun. I'll just pull it up. You'll need to kind of do 2 things at the same time. You need to watch me and go to kahoot.it. There's an app. If you're watching me on your computer, you can play on your mobile phone. There's a great app. You can do it really easily. If you can't, then you can just put your answer in the comments box as well on YouTube. That's absolutely fine. Right. Where are we? Ah, here it is. Let's play. Okay, so what you'll have to do, let me show you, actually. This will be easy if I show you. Let's teach. Once you go in there, oh, they've made that. That's interesting. Bear with me. Okay, what you have to do is go to kahoot.it, put in the game pin, which you can see here is 5042416, and then choose a nickname, choose a name for you, and then we can get going. The game pin, Aditya, is 5042416. Yeah, somebody's put it in the thing. Thank you very much, guys, for posting that. So it's www.kahoot.it. And these are the great, funny names you've chosen. Bavina says, nowadays I became a fan of yours. Thank you so much, Bavina. It's great. Nice money. Nice money. Nice melody. Yes, true, Vaclav. Great, you've got your names. I'll just give you a few seconds to get in. Wow, there's a lot of people joining today. The more the merrier, as they say. Great, so we're going to be reviewing some of the language we've been looking at today, talking about the news. Excellent. Big hug from New Zealand, Brazilian boy here. Reginaldo, nice to see you here, Reginaldo. Venkat, your first time, welcome. I hope it's useful for you. Punit, I love the way you teach, Mr. Keith. Thank you very much. My pleasure. The less the worse. Funny that we never say that. We never say the less the worse. We say the more the merrier, the more the better, the more the merrier. Sahar, hello from Iran. Radu, how did your test go? I hope it went well. Right, you can play it on your laptop. Popping up on the screen is people's names. These are the names that you've chosen. Okay, let's start, guys. Let's get in there. First of all, question number 1, the news. Here is some blank news just in. Here is some blank news just in. You've got a choice of break, broken, breaking, or fixed. You've got 20 seconds left. Hello from Iran, Sharia. Nice to see you here. Some good answers coming in. Here is some. The answer is breaking. 138 people got it. Well done. Breaking news, right, is the latest news. I noticed 48 people said break. Now, be careful. That is the verb to break the news. To break the news is to tell the news as a verb. But here, it's the adjective, right? The breaking news. Easy mistake to make, but don't worry. We're just kicking off. That's the first question. Scoreboard. Who's at the top? Regina. I have to make this a bit smaller. Yes. Oh, there's 5 of you all in the same place. Interesting. Right, let's move on. Next question. True or false? So is this correct or incorrect? True, it's correct. False, it's incorrect. I have a news for you. I have a news for you. Is that correct English or incorrect English? It's false, of course, it's false, right? It's not I have a news. You cannot count news, right? It has to be I have news for you. Oh my lordy, lordy, is that right? That's strange. Only 7 people difference. Oh, that's worrying. That's very, very worrying because this is the most basic one. You must get this right. It's such a common mistake. I have news for you is the correct answer. Let's move on. Right, some people have got their names in. Interesting. Second, so Onida is at the top and Carrie is next. Okay, let's move on. Okay. Sorry. I heard this story through the blank. I heard this story through the blank. Me and technology. I'm having fun here. Maria, you're welcome. The grapevine. I heard this story through the grapevine. Remember? Not through the grape tree or the grape. Through the grapevine. Exactly. These results seem very strange because we didn't have 1,000 people in there, did we? Not to worry. We know the right answer. Scoreboard. Next. Onida is still up there at the top. Let's see. Last question. News passes quickly by word of blank. News passes quickly by word of blank. Like the music. There you go. News passes quickly by word of mouth, right? By word of mouth. Remember that image of the word going from one mouth to another mouth. By word of mouth. Great, that's the last question. Let's look at the scoreboard. Friendly dog is third. Awesome deer is second. And number one, Oneida or Oneida. How did you get your name in? Very interesting. Oneida. Well done. Congratulations. You're in. You're top of the pops. Very, very nice. Brilliant. Listen, guys, thank you very, very much for joining me today. We are at the end. So just to recap for you, we've looked at the news today. We've looked at lots of vocabulary. We had a great conversation with Mr. Brick, and we've discovered the Brick technique. Go and watch that if you missed it. We've done a bit of question practice. We looked at some nice idioms like to give the lowdown, to give all the details of a piece of news, and more. We had a sample answer on the part 2 question. Describe a bad piece of news you've had. And also we had Kahoot, right? That's it. Lots of interesting stuff. I hope this has helped you. So these notes from today, and of course I'm referring to the notes over here, all of the notes that we've had today will go on my website. And so you can download all of these from this one. It's the Keith Speaking Academy, right? The Keith Speaking Academy. Let me show you where that is to make sure you know where to go. If you go to the Keith Speaking Academy up here, right, and just look at the top navigation panel. Everything's a bit slow this morning. Go to the free live lessons. And in the free live lessons, you scroll down. You'll notice this has changed a little bit, but you get the latest live lessons. You can download here, or you can click to study the lesson. Obviously, you can watch it on YouTube. And then we've got all the previous lessons, and I've just added this. So if you want to go for A to D, right, advice, ambition, animals, I've taken off the YouTube video because it was slowing down the site. But you can still, if you click to study the lesson, right, you get all the notes here on the website. And from here, you can download the notes again, but you can watch here, you can watch the whole thing, right? There is the link to the YouTube video if you want to watch it. So you've got basically everything there all in one place. So it's in the free live lesson section on the website, the Keith Speaking Academy. What else can I tell you? If you're watching YouTube, I know some of you are on Facebook, but if you're on YouTube, please do turn on that subscribe button so you can find out about new videos coming and the notifications. I do release a video every Saturday. It's a recorded video around midday on Saturday. And this Saturday, the video is why you are stuck at a band 6 or 6.5. Because a lot of students tell me they do the test, they get a 6, then they get a 6.5. They do the test again, they get a 6. And they're like stuck in this circle, 6, 6.5, and they just can't break out. Saturday's video is going to tell you why and how to solve the problem. Okay, so look forward for that. What else? That's it for today. Thank you very, very much, all of you, for joining me. It's been a great pleasure. I do look forward to seeing you, obviously, Saturday for the video, next Thursday. If you're celebrating Easter, have a lovely, lovely time. Happy Easter. It's death and it's rebirth. It's also it's a time to reflect and think, but it's a time to also enjoy life. Brilliant. Take care, my friends. All the best now. Bye-bye.